At 21 years old, I made $360,000 in real estate. Most of it was from wholesaling. Here's how I did it. Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. If we haven't met yet, my name is Vayna Jerabek. I'm a real estate agent and wholesaler and real estate investor here in Seattle, Washington. I've been making videos online for 3 years now about my journey in real estate and how I make money and invest to build my future. I dropped out of college to do this. I'm all in on real estate and I'm teaching you how to do the same on this channel. So if this video is helpful to you, please drop a like and comment what you would like to see next so I can keep putting out good videos for you. And let's get into this. So start from the beginning. I got into real estate as a realtor. I dropped out of college to get my real estate license. I was 18 years old. I was super shy. I didn't know anything about sales or talking to people or really anything. And I was super confused. I was super shy. I just knew I didn't want to work for someone else. And so I figured you don't need college to do real estate. There's a bunch of scripts and resources out there for new agents. I had been going to big real estate events and just learning, like the Tom Ferry Success Summit. That was a big one where I learned a lot about exactly what real estate agents do. So from the time I got my real estate license, I just put my head down, buried myself in all these books and resources. I was learning the real estate agent scripts. I was learning how to talk to people with How to Win Friends and Influence People, watching tons of Tom Ferry YouTube and all the other gurus out there who give tips for new agents. It was all super helpful. And long story short, on the realtor end, because we want to talk about wholesaling today, I got my first listing as an agent 6 months into it. It was all consistency of prospecting and just working on how to provide value to my market as an 18-year-old and not letting myself quit. It was really, really hard. I hated talking to strangers, but I realized that there are advantages to my clients that I'm younger because I'm more social media savvy. I have more time to work with them than realtors who have a ton of business. And I just cared more than other agents who were just looking for a check. Most people are in this industry to make a check. And don't get me wrong, I'm no charity worker. But like Zig Ziglar says, if you help enough people get what they want, you will get what you want. So I focused on that and just becoming a really great salesperson. And I closed 14 deals in my first year as a realtor. That was 2020 when I was 20 years old. So that's my background in real estate. I am glad that I had the real estate license when I got into wholesaling because it was a very natural transition over. I already had real estate experience. I now had a sales background, so I'm glad I did it. I don't think you need to have a real estate license for wholesaling. I don't really recommend it for new wholesalers because it can take a little bit of time to get. So my advice now is if you already have it, great. But if you don't have it, do not even worry because real estate license or not, if you're new to sales or real estate, you're gonna have to learn anyway. So that was in 2020 when I was 19 years old. I did 14 deals the first year. Then I turned 20 in December 2020. And so 2021 is when I got into wholesaling. I remember my first deal like it was yesterday. So how I got into wholesaling overall is I was doing a bunch of real estate. In my second year of wholesaling real estate is when I got introduced to wholesaling. So I was still doing deals in 2021. And then it was in springtime when I was just doing my prospecting as normal. I was cold calling for listings as I do, just looking for anybody in the neighborhood who was looking to sell. My script was, hey, my name's Vayna. I'm a local realtor here in the area. Just want to let you know that a listing popped up down the road. I'm just curious if you had any questions on it or when you might plan on selling. Something like that. I was circle prospecting and my office was in a gym. So we rented a spot that was next to a yoga studio and one of the yoga instructors just happened to be walking by my office when I was making my calls and he walks in and he's like, hey, are you looking for real estate deals in here? Because he recognized my script and I was like, yeah, I am. And Scotty T was like, yeah, I'm looking to buy deals. You know, you can put me down for your buyer list if you find anything off the market. I'm happy to buy it. And I was super unfamiliar to off-market wholesaling at the time. I didn't know I barely even knew what the hell he was talking about. I kind of had heard about wholesaling, but I didn't really believe in it. I didn't think it was like a real thing or that it actually worked or how it worked or that it was really that simple. I was like, okay, I mean, sure, I'll take your information, but didn't really do anything about it. And, you know, day by day, he kept walking by and listening to me do my thing. And he would stop in and chat every once in a while, blah, blah, blah. And one day we're chatting and Scotty's like, so why are you messing around being a buyer's agent? And I'm like, well, it's really easy money. I mean, I've kind of built up my business where it's really consistent. I run around a lot and it takes a lot of my time, but it's worth it. Like I'm already at 100 grand this year. So he's like, that's good, but you're super stressed and you're running around. And for what you're doing, already cold calling, you probably could make more wholesaling. So I asked him more about it. I asked my questions. I'm like, okay, what is wholesaling? How do you do it? How do you get the deals? What's the money like, right? It was like Wolf of Wall Street, show me a check for $20,000 and I'll quit my job right now. He's like, yeah, I send out 10,000 mailers a month and I make like $40,000 on each deal. And the price point of the house doesn't matter. So I was like, All right, I'm in. And again, to keep that long story short and talk about how I really got into this, I decided to try it. And for what I was already doing, cold calling for listings, all it was switching my list and my script. So I switched my list from any house in the area to all old houses in the area that have been owned for 20 years or more. I pulled the list off Property Radar. I still use Property Radar to this day. It's a great program. And I switched my script from, hey, this is Vayna, real estate agent, to, hey, my name's Vayna. I'm a real estate investor looking to buy property in this area. I was just curious when you may plan on selling. And I honestly really preferred the wholesaling script to the agent script because I feel like the agent script makes me sound like I'm looking for a listing, which I was, and it was kind of a limiting belief because as agents, it's really our job to bring inventory to the market, so we're just doing our jobs. But instead of saying I was an agent, I was saying I was looking to buy property directly and like actually make you an offer today versus trying to list the house for you and hope it sells. So I just felt like I came off more serious, and I think I did. But yeah, I switched my script, started prospecting 3 hours a day. The goal was to talk to 20 to 30 people a day about their house, when they plan on selling, get some leads. And eventually, it was probably a week or two into switching up my script is when I set my first appointment. And you know, I didn't know anything about wholesaling, and Scotty offered to help me with my first deal. So I called him up. I was like, hey, this person's looking to move. They want this. Will you come on the appointment with me? And you know, he said yes because he stood to make half my deal. Maybe he just really wanted to help people. Scotty's still a good friend of mine today. Anyways, we went on the appointment. Really, Scotty did all the talking. I was just tagging along, and we found out they weren't ready yet. So we didn't do that deal, but you're really going to expect to do your first deal in your first appointment? And I was really excited, but I was trying not to get my hopes up because, you know, what are really the odds you do your first deal in your first appointment? But yeah, we did that appointment. Didn't work out. Couldn't get the numbers right. I think they already had a realtor, so there wasn't really an opportunity to list the property either. So over the next couple months, I kept setting appointments. I kept bringing Scotty, and eventually we had someone who was interested in our offer. Oh my gosh, it was so cool. I had a cold call. I was like, hey, looking to buy properties in the area. Just curious when you may plan on selling. And she was like, I'm selling. So I was like, well, great. When can I come over? So we went over there. We looked at the house. With Scotty's experience, he knew exactly how much the rehab was going to be. And with my agent experience, I knew how much the property would be worth after it was fixed up. This property was it was a pretty cut and dry flip. It wasn't in the best shape, but it was really just cosmetic, like take out the kitchen, take out the floors, replace the doors. So the numbers on this house it was going to be worth $500,000 after it's fixed up. That's our after repair value, our ARV. The rehab cost was around $40,000. And so according to the 80% rule, which says we take 80% of the ARV and then subtract rehab, and that's right around where we want to be, that would put us at $360,000 max allowable offer, if you will. To this day with wholesaling, I really don't run super specific numbers. I still just go by the 80% rule. I don't really use a pro forma for wholesaling. I sometimes use a flip calculator. But like in this example, if the property is going to be worth $500,000 when it's done, if you get it anywhere around $300,000, it's a good deal. Because buyers are going to beat you up on your price, they're going to beat you up on your ARV, they're going to beat you up on your rehab costs. So really the best thing to do is just get it as low as you can. So anyways, we offered her $360,000 for her house. This was a rental for her. She actually lived nearby. This lady had owned this house for like 20, 30 years, and she was finally ready to just let it go. And she didn't want to deal with putting it on the market or realtors or anything like that. I really didn't know if she was going to sign the contract. We sent the contract through DocuSign to her daughter for her to sign. And I remember I was eating Korean barbecue like that night. And then I got the email notification on my phone that she signed the contract. Oh my God, I was so excited. I was like, yes, let's go. First deal, go. And like I said, Scotty, my mentor, was helping me with this transaction. So I got to see how he talked to the seller, how he calculates rehab, how he presents the off-market option, how he explains himself as a wholesaler, all that good stuff. And it was a great learning experience. And so after she signed our purchase and sale agreement, it was time to start selling the deal. I put it up in Facebook investor groups, and this was like at the height of COVID when the market was really strong. And so we got like 40 people who are interested in this deal commenting their emails because they wanted more information. And I sent it to everybody. We had like 4 showings. I think I've done a full YouTube video on this deal, so I'll keep it short. We sold this deal to the highest bidder. It actually went up in a bidding war for $440,000 sale price to the buyer. So Scotty and I assigned this deal that we put under contract for $360,000 for $440,000, so we made an $80,000 assignment fee. It was pretty sweet. We split the deal 50-50. We had a joint venture contract, so I made $40,000 and Scotty made $40,000. Not bad for one cold call. Really, it's like months worth of cold calling, right? But one phone call. But that was the first deal. I was super psyched. It was amazing. It took like less than 30 days to close. And right there is when I was like, okay, I have been working with buyers and sellers this whole time, selling myself, spending time, preparing presentations, running all over town, going hours away to show houses. And this deal that's 20 minutes from where I live just made me $80,000 in less than 30 days. So I was sold on wholesaling. Hey, it's me, Vayna. Just want to pause real quick and shout out this video's sponsor that I am very excited about. When I cold call sellers for listings in wholesale or mail out to find properties to buy, I get tons of questions on where I'm getting these owners' numbers and addresses. Now for this, I've tried a bunch of programs out there over the years, and the best one I found is Property Radar. So I'm super psyched to partner with them to connect you with the best tools for success in real estate and prospecting. I've been using Property Radar for a few years now with tons of success, and what this software does is, like I said, it aggregates all of the property and owner data in your area, and with the click of a few buttons, you're able to filter by just about every property characteristic you can think of. From the size of house you're looking for, to zoning, to how long it's been owned and how much equity the owner has. With Property Radar, you can create the perfect property profile and pull a list of those specific homes in your desired area. Super powerful tool. I've made over $300,000 with lists created on Property Radar, so I can say with 100% certainty that compared to other platforms I've tried, Property Radar has the most accurate information, which is a big deal with sites like these. You don't want to spend money and get going prospecting just to get the wrong information. And it has the most user-friendly interface, all for the best value. I've got a link for a 3-day free trial to Property Radar in the description below. Go ahead, try it out, play around with it. And if you're curious, I do have a video on my channel covering the lists I create and how I use them, so check that out. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more real estate content, and let's get back to the video. Right around the same time too, Scotty coerced me into joining the Springboard to Wealth coaching program with Thatch Win, and really that has been the best decision in my career. Because I guess having Scotty as a mentor showed me the power of mentorship and how it can just propel you all the way to the finish line. Like if I had tried to do that deal myself, I probably would not even have closed it. So that showed me how worth it mentorship is. Like I made $40,000 by making him $40,000. It's like, this is a great deal. So I joined Springboard to Wealth. It's a coaching group, it's weekly calls. I'm now in the upgraded inner circle with that. It's been amazing. I've got another video on Springboard, but I joined that coaching group with the money I made from wholesaling. It wasn't all the money, and then the rest of the money I saved and reinvested into the business, into marketing. I wanted to do direct mail like Scotty, so I put like $7,000 into direct mail, and it was like 15,000 postcards that I sent out to 3 different cities. And from there, me and Scotty did 2 more deals out of that batch, which added up to a $40,000 deal and then a $30,000 or $40,000 deal again. We did 2 more together, and by that time I was like, all right, I know how to do this. So I started doing them on my own, and the rest is history. My first year wholesaling, I finished 2021 making about $180,000 as an agent and $180,000 as a wholesaler. And then 2022, I made about $400,000. It was about 30% real estate agent business and 70% wholesaling. And in 2022, I did less transactions, I did less work, I had more time to travel, I took my birthday month off, I bought a flip, it was pretty sweet. And then in 2023, I should finish out at about $500,000. Wholesaling changed my life. If not for wholesaling, I would still be a real estate agent. I probably would have built up my business as a real estate agent, but I just really prefer wholesaling because it's less work, it takes less time. I believe it does solve a need in our marketplace because not every house needs to go on the market. Like I have dealt with some crazy situations with sellers. They had rats in the house, it was falling apart. They didn't want anybody to see their house on the market, and by offering them that off-market option, they were able to preserve their privacy and just have a smoother process. And beyond the money, I really am grateful that I get to help people out of tough situations. Most realtors won't even list really bad, worn down properties because they don't want their name on a fixer. And on the other hand, there are realtors that believe that every house needs to go on the market because it's like their duty to get the seller the best price all the time. And I think that's really jaded because it's not always about price. Why do people overpay for designer clothes? Why do people pay more to take their car into the shop rather than do it themselves? Because it's convenience. Really not fair for realtors to impose their best interest on the seller, make them clean up the property, make repairs, do all this when they could just sell it off the market. And of course, not all realtors, and I actually have a lot of realtors send me these leads because they don't know how to approach them and they don't know how to deal with them, but they know that the off-market solution is probably a really good option for them. And it's a really good deal because I send the realtors referral fees when we close. The other thing about why I really love what I do in wholesaling is that there are a lot of scammy wholesalers out there. So just like when I became an agent, because I saw idiots out here making money and not even doing that great of a job on like the listing or with the buyer or whatever, there are a lot of shitty wholesalers who are ripping these people off just to make a check on their house, because wholesaling is largely unregulated. It's even more unregulated than realtors because you don't need a license to do it. Anyone can do it. And if you have a real estate license and you wholesale, you're still held to like the ethics and rules of the realtor board. So there's that layer of protection for sellers, but for the people who aren't licensed, you can do whatever you want. So for me, I always present myself as a real estate advisor. I have a real estate license. I can help you list a property if that's the best option. I am very experienced with wholesaling. I can help you sell off the market if that's the best option. Or if you just want to see how much your house is worth, we do that too. And I get a lot of realtors ask me, Vayna, how do you make that transition? What does that look like? And really, wholesaling is just another tool in your kit, right? It is a totally different thing that takes a bit of time and experience to learn. But once you do, you have that much more value to bring to your sellers. And it's always about problem solving. It's not about how much can I make on your house. It's about what is the best solution for you and how can we make this a win-win situation, right? And obviously I don't sell every house I walk into. A lot of them will just part ways because it just didn't work. My closing rate is definitely higher as I go along because I'm learning more and providing more value. But yeah, I think this video is getting too long. So that's how I got into wholesaling. Hopefully this helped you. And I help a lot of other people wholesale now too. I've got a team here in Seattle. I do monthly trainings here in the office. I do mentorship online. I make tons of videos. But most of all, really, I just love making videos and sharing what works for me. Because I believe anyone can do it, and I believe real estate is a really viable way for young people to start building wealth. Whether you become a real estate agent, a wholesaler, a syndicator, sub-2, whatever, it's a great industry. I'm super focused in on wholesaling and burring, but it all works. My parting advice is to just figure out what works for you, what you're really good at, what you enjoy, and what moves you towards what you really want out of life. That's it for today. Let me know your questions. Vayna, out.